We're on.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, topics, stipulations, first down, played it. Presenting topics for Kanye to Tom Brady. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. So 3 weeks ago, we started with 68 teams. There were a lot of oohs, a lot of ahs, a lot of agony of defeat, the celebration, the tears, the anger, the people angry at brackets getting destroyed. But ladies and gentlemen, in less than 30 hours away, we are down to 4. And you know what bothers me about this? Yeah, I know. It maybe not be once again the sexy Final Four because, we don't get the big names. But you know what, folks? These are, no matter what you want to say, these are the 4 best teams in college basketball fighting for a chance to win a championship. I don't want to hear Kentucky, Duke, Gonzaga, Michigan,
don't want to hear Duke?
Tennessee, North Carolina. Because guess what, folks? If those were the best teams, they'd be here. They're not. These are the best teams in college basketball right now. You have the most dominant, probably in the entire tournament, playing Texas Tech. You have the hottest team in Auburn. Then you have the typical Izzo time. And then you got Virginia, the team that everybody wanted to knock out early on in the tournament. Probably the one seed that people were saying, don't know if I really want to pick them. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are less than 30 hours away from the Final Four in Minneapolis. And guess what? If you're not a fan of college basketball and not a fan of this Final Four, then shame on you, because everything that you want to see in a basketball game will be on display tomorrow. Defense, coaching, and everybody likes good guards, right? Good guards, like everybody likes NBA players. There's a hell of a good talent pool of guards in this. Those are the college guards, but not great NBA guards. But there is a hell of a lot of good talent on these courts in these 2 games tomorrow.
Well, that's what you see in this March Madness all the time. You always see a veteran-laden guard team. We always talk about guards, point guards. You always talk about the big turn. Which team has the guards or the guard that can take over? As a UConn fan, for me, you look at Shabazz Napier, you look at Kemba Walker, you look at Khalid El-Amin in the 1999 team, you look at Ben Gordon. Those 4 guard, guys. And I'm not taking away from Okafor on that UConn team because he was the best player. But you look at this tournament all the time. You look at the veteran guards that can lead their teams. And you look at this team. Matt Mooney from Texas Tech, the underrated player. We hear so much about Jared Culver, the top 10 prospect that's going to be in the NBA draft coming up soon. He has been a huge presence for Texas Tech. Bryce Brown and the little man Hunter for Auburn.
Jared Hunter.
Then you look at the veteran junior guard Cassius Winston from Michigan State, the do-it-all player. And then you have Ty Jerome for Virginia. And there's so many other guards. But it's guard-win teams, and like you said, perfect. This tournament, what's special about this tournament is, you are right. As the common fan,
I usually am right.
We want to see. Well, and to your point, you were saying, we do want to see Duke, and we do because we want to see Duke.
This year might have been different because of the factor of Zion, and we wanted to see his presence in the Final Four.
I'm not saying Duke because of him. I'm saying because,
Ted, let's be honest.
Like when I picked my Elite Eight, I had UNC and Kentucky.
Yeah,
you want to see. We think that those are the best teams. Hey, we think North Carolina, Kentucky. At the time, they were not the best teams. Auburn proved to be the better team. You want to see the Duke versus Kentucky, the Virginia versus North Carolina, the Gonzaga versus Duke. Whoever it is that you may have thought was one of the best teams, you want to see those big names because to the common fan, those will get the team. It's like when I look at the Super Bowl, you don't always get the 2 best teams. You get the 2 best teams that are playing the best football at the end of the year. But when I look at the 2 Giants Super Bowls, The Giants weren't the best team in football. They weren't even the top 4 teams.
And you know what?
But they were the best team playing football at the right time. And that's the way I look at Auburn and Texas Tech. Texas Tech went through a stretch this year at a point in time where they kind of faltered. They were a top 10 team. I remember the game early in the season.
Well, so was Auburn. Auburn came into the year being a top 10 team. And you know what makes this Final Four even greater? You get a team from the Big 12 and Texas Tech. You get a team in the Big 10 and Michigan State. You get a team in the SEC. I know it's not Kentucky, but it's an SEC team. It's Auburn. And then you get an ACC team.
You get the four major conferences.
Four major conferences. Yeah, everybody might want to add the Big East or the Pac-12. No, folks. These are the 4 best conferences in all of college sports. In the major sports, those are the 4 major ones. And now you get a chance to have a team from each of those conferences being representative in the Final Four. So everything, all the ingredients, like Ted always likes to say, stirring up the ingredients, as Ted loves his food, you have all the right ingredients for a successful Final Four. Now, we always want to say, oh, well, you like to see the Cinderella, the big name teams. But you know what? What's wrong with Michigan State? What's wrong with having Virginia in it? What's wrong with having 2 unknowns in Texas Tech and Auburn? What's wrong with that? Because it's not Duke or Kentucky or Kansas or UNC?
If I can use a food reference, just because you don't have the sizzle doesn't mean you can't have the steak.
I mean, there's got to be some sort of sizzle.
And you said it,
just because
you said it perfectly, though. You get contrasting styles. You get Auburn and Virginia. I mean, literally ground and pound, slow it down, snail pace versus cheetah style. Up and down, want possessions. They want the 3 ball. They want to run you and run you and run you. And everyone said, don't run against North Carolina. Well, they ran North Carolina out of the building.
No, literally, they did.
Literally. Then you have Michigan State and Texas Tech, which are similar styles.
You get a nitty-gritty team in Michigan State.
You get a guy like Chris Beard, a prodigy or a disciple from Bob Knight, the school of Bob Knight. Hard-nosed coaching, defense, physicality. They play like the Seattle Seahawks on defense. Very scratching, gnawing.
They're talented. I mean, they've been the most dominant team.
They're not the most talented. They might have the most talented player in this Final Four.
But they've been the most dominant team in this Final Four. Coming into the Final Four, there has not been one close game for them other than the Gonzaga game. And, well, that was a big upset because many people thought Gonzaga would win.
They beat Northern Kentucky 72-57. They beat Buffalo, which a lot of people had going pretty far by 20 points. They threw them out of the gym. They beat Michigan, which a lot of people thought beat them by 19 points. And then beat Gonzaga by 6, and it could have been more.
And Gonzaga was one of those favorites. Many people had them.
Now, with this being said, the Final Four, for me, has always been a great tradition. I love the Final Four. I look at the Final Four as the Super Bowl. It really is, for me, a great time. You get 2 great things. I always, you look at it, I always think that the Final Four is bigger than the national championship. It's almost like people forget. It's always like
there's still another game.
Because what do they say?
No. I'm saying it's like there's still there's another game.
Final Four. Yeah. Everyone talks about getting to the Final Four, and it's not taken away from the national championship. But the Final Four is Saturday night. You have the 2 games. Give or take, who cares when they start? 6, 8, 7, 9, doesn't matter. Because the Monday night game is usually 9 o'clock. Everyone's getting ready to go to bed.
It's on Monday night.
Half the time you don't even watch the end of the game because it's 11, 12 o'clock at night. You got to go to work in the morning.
Speak for yourself.
But the Final Four is a great tradition. I remember as a kid always watching. And then I remember in middle school and high school, my buddies, Marty Kissel and Timmy Brancher and Dan Golan, all the guys from the Ridge School in North Haven, Connecticut. My buddy Marty always used to have all the guys over on Saturday nights, and Mom either wouldn't bring me over there or I'd have to get a ride by Timmy or someone. But we'd go over his house and we'd watch the games. And his dad, the doc, Mr. Kissel, he'd order the pizzas and we'd have soda and whatever.
Oh, my God. Don't even get me started about pizza right now.
And we'd watch the games. And it was great because, all of us played, traveling basketball. And who doesn't like the Final Four? I mean, some people don't really care about basketball, so it doesn't have interest. But
that's why I wanted to go to my next question with you.
We talked about this. Tomorrow night, we're like, should we go out? Should we do this? What do we say? We want to go home. We want to sit home. We want to watch the games. We want to watch it with our dad.
I've been doing it for the entire tournament, so I don't want to change anything else.
Uncle Jerry was talking about coming over. Uncle Frank called Dad the other day and said, "Hey, listen, I want to come over and watch the game."
Even though my team's not in it, even though my team's not in the tournament, and it's it's sad. It sucks to see my team once again heartbreak, not make it. But you know what? It's not going to change my opinion.
Dad wants to have pizza tonight. He just said.
I want pizza.
Dad, we're going to try the
I'm craving pizza.
We're going to try the new bar in West Haven, Rebar. Heard great things from it.
It doesn't matter. The Final Four just means so much more. And you even said it best. I mean, the Final Four, it just has that meaning to it.
Well, here's the thing. The first day of the tournament, we get together. Uncle Tommy, we all get together. That's another big day. The first day of the tournament. The tournament's weird because like the first day of the tournament, everyone's so excited because it's the most games on. It's games from 12 o'clock at night to 12 o'clock or 12 o'clock noon time to midnight all day long, and it's jam-packed and you're always looking for those upsets. Then things slow down. Sweet 16's cool and everything, and it's fun, and unless you're a true fan, you kind of pass on. But the Final Four, I remember
just the meaning.
I remember going to people's houses for parties.
It's just the name.
My buddy Pat Clapp going to this kid's buddy's house. They had friends in Hamden, and everyone it's like a party. It's like the Super Bowl. That's how it works. No one gets excited for a one-game baseball game or a playoff
I know
game.
we talked about our memories and stuff, so let's get into the games. Let's actually talk about the games because there is games going on.
A lot of memories in these games.
Of course. There's always great memories with this Final Four weekend.
And there's a lot of storylines too, Trev.
Can we have a first? Do you think there's a first coming this year? And what I mean by first, I mean 3 of the 4 teams have never won a championship. Can we have a first? What's the chances? I know there's a 25% chance.
Here's the other thing.
There's a 25% chance, but to you, do you think we will have a first?
Yes, absolutely. With 3 of the 4 being...
I don't want you to give me my prediction yet.
With 3 of the 4
who's
teams
playing Monday night.
having the opportunity to win their first national championship, I think absolutely overwhelmingly favored because all 3 of the 4 teams are good enough to win it. Unlike last year where like, well, Chicago was there. I never thought they could win the thing. Mm-hmm. But they got there and it was a great run, and that's what's great because all 4 of these teams have a legit chance to win, and they all
have different styles of play, which is great, and that's an example of their coaches. I wanted to get into a question to you, and we kind of talked about it brief. Do you think that the NCAA once again gets hurt because of the names, the big names, not being in the tournament in the Final Four once again? And when I talk about the big names, you know who I'm talking about. Duke, Kentucky, UNC. You can put Kansas, even in Villanova, because they've been one of those big names. But those teams specifically, does it hurt the NCAA once again because of the viewership and the fans' disinterest?
I don't know if it hurts. I would put it this way. You're either going to watch or you're not going to watch. Now, maybe you're going to get a few more viewers if Zion was in it. Because of
few? If Zion Williams is in the Final Four, trust me, the ratings would be at an all-time high.
Of course.
Because it's Duke, and then you get the name Zion. It'd be an all-time high.
Does it hurt? Yes. I'd be an idiot to say not. Because if you didn't have Duke Gonzaga, or Duke Michigan, or Duke Kentucky, or Duke North Carolina, or something like that, to say that wouldn't get better ratings than, all right, Texas Tech versus Michigan State or Auburn, Virginia, probably. Because when I said to you, you go, Ched, it's Auburn, Texas Tech. They're football schools. No, they don't look at them as basketball schools. Mm-hmm. Michigan State's really only is a real team that you only look at as a basketball school. Virginia, I'm not saying they're
Virginia's becoming more
because of Tony Bennett, but they've had Ralph Sampson, they've had good players before, but it's not the same. It's not Kentucky, it's not Duke, it's not North Carolina, it's not the perennial basketball powerhouses that you're accustomed to seeing. It's not even UConn basketball.
I think it's great because this Final Four, and I don't think it hurts the NCAA because you're coming in.
Well, it hurts in the ratings, but it won't hurt the game.
Kind of like the Elite Eight. All these 2 games. You don't know what matchup's going to be played on Monday night. You really don't. I mean, you kind of have some people might say, oh, Virginia, Michigan State. But folks, this Texas Tech team, this Auburn team, yeah, they're unknowns up until this tournament. But these are 2 well-coached teams, 2 teams that play it differently. Defense on Texas Tech, offense for Auburn. This is a toss-up. Just like all the Elite Eight games last week, this is a toss-up. So let's get into the first game. And it's Virginia, the only number 1 seed left, versus some people might want to call them still the Cinderella because they are the highest seed left. They are the 5 seed. But folks, this is a very good Auburn team. And I wanted to pick this team at the beginning of the tournament. But what did Ted do? Oh, no, I can see them going out 1 and done. They could have.
They should have.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
But that's what usually happens in the tournament. A great team usually gets a scare like that. Not twice because, well, Duke had that and got eliminated. But Auburn had that 1 scare. Virginia had a quick little scare in the first quarter against Gardner-Webb.
First half, yeah.
And then they kind of but then Oregon. But that's what makes a great team. You have to have moments like that. So you see,
they're learning moments.
Two different styles of play. Completely different styles of play. You got the run and gun offense, the shotgun, spread offense, bang, 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 going fast tempo. And then you got the ground and pound. Let's slow down the tempo.
This is
run the football, win inside the trenches, Virginia.
This is like Texas Tech football or Oklahoma football versus the option football of Navy.
Option football is pretty fast. I would say
Really?
Yeah.
How fast?
Pretty fast.
All right.
So fast. So you look at this game, and you got great guards. And that's what we talk about. The guard play.
Guards
Bryce
always.
Brown, Jared Harper versus Ty Jerome,
comes down to guards all the
DeAndre
time.
Hunter, and Kyle Guy. And I'm telling you, folks, if you like guards, I know people like to play a lot of NBA 2K nowadays, and we always want to play with point guards. Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, John Wall, just a hand. Kyrie Irving.
I love playing with Westbrook.
I love playing with point guards, and it's fun because they're so fast, they're quick, they're great shooters. Oh, Derrick Rose. But you get that right here in these two matches. You got 5 great guards. You have a top 10 projected player in DeAndre Hunter, and then you got some guys that maybe will play in the late second, maybe get to the NBA one day.
Bryce Brown will probably be Auburn's best chance of.
But for Auburn's chance to really have any shot of getting to the national championship and playing Monday night, you have to win in the trenches. You have to win with the boards. You have to win boards. I know the loss of Okeke hurts. It kills them. But with their up-tempo, could beat them. Just look at what Carson Edwards did last week.
That's the type
Carson
of
Edwards had 42. You have to be able to shoot the three. They live and die by the three ball. And we know how these stadiums always kind of screw up a team when it comes to shooting threes. These football stadiums have some kind of weird little thing happen around that rim that whenever a great shooting team, and we've seen it in past in history, kind of struggle with these rims.
I know. It's not the rims. It's just the atmosphere. It's the back setting.
It's just different.
Well, yeah, because it's bigger.
That's what could hurt Auburn because of how much they're second in history with the most 3 points made.
Listen, I think it's easier to slow a team down than speed a team up. That's why Virginia's going to get the edge. You know, I love the coaching matchup. The kind of the clean, calm, collective. Tony Bennett
cool, and collected
versus the wild man and Bruce Pearl, emotional guy, more
like
fiery guy.
It's like
Dad kind of has the football mentality. Yeah. Listen, if Auburn's going to win, them as a team have to have a Carson Edwards type of performance. They
have 2 guards to do that.
They have multiple guards. They have multiple guys that can shoot the three. Okay, Bryce Brown
and Jared Harper. Those are the 2 guys. Those are the 2 main ones that they live and die by. Especially now with Okeke being out with his injury, those are what they're living and dying by.
They're going to have to hit at least 14 threes to win the game. You got to be. Here's the thing: to beat Virginia, you have to be able to hit your threes. When Duke beat Virginia early in the season, they hit 13 threes. Okay, and then Florida State beat them just because they were more athletic and bigger. But not going to beat them on size. Okay, but they can beat them on quickness, athleticism, and your 3 ball. If they're not hitting threes, this game will get out of hand early. But we've seen though, Kentucky was a bigger team, and they held Kentucky to 71 points, including the overtime game. So if they can play their style, it's one of those things. Get over 65, I think Auburn has a very good chance. Play less than 65 points, get less than 65.
Yeah, if you go under 60, you're playing right into Virginia's court.
Virginia should win this game. They're the more talented team. They're the best team. They've been the best team pretty much in college basketball the whole season. Their 2 losses came to Duke because Duke is just that much more talented. And I think Duke was like their kryptonite, but no one really else could beat Virginia because they didn't have Zion, they didn't have RJ Barrett, and they didn't have Cam Reddish. Okay? You got to slow down the kid Hunter for Auburn to be successful and win.
Who?
The Hunter. The little kid.
Harper?
Harper.
DeAndre Hunter, you think. What I was going to say is I think the balance of Virginia and the different rotations that they're going to throw at Bruce Pearl and this team is going to kind of they're going to try to tire them out very quickly. Now, I don't know if Auburn's going to tire themselves out because of how fast they run with the pace.
They're used to this, so it won't make a difference.
But they haven't played a team like Virginia who's going to really try. And you know what Virginia's built on. They're built on physicality and slowing it down, slowing the tempo of the game down, and that's what they're going to do.
They have the slowest tempo in the country.
Yes. And that's what they're going to try to do.
They're built on defense, but even though they're off, what's made Virginia successful this year, and I'll end it on this point with Virginia, is their offense this year has been an upgrade. It's always been their backbone has always been the defense, but this year offensively they're more efficient offensively than they are defense efficiency, and that's the reason why they'll end up winning this game, just because they have. I think the injury for Auburn hurts them, and I just trust this Virginia team. I think they're on a mission.
Okay.
And they've been the most complete team from beginning to end.
I would argue.
And I'm not even talking about the tournament. I'm talking from day one.
Okay.
From
That's
day one, the beginning of the season, they have been the most complete team.
Okay. That's fine. I think most people want to see Auburn. We always want to see the unexpected. We always want to see the.
I'd love to see Auburn, but I just think Virginia's
we want to see
win.
something fresh and new. And this, well, folks, it doesn't matter what's going to happen because it's going to be fresh and new. Any one of these matchups will be fresh and new. But to see maybe Auburn and Texas Tech playing in a national championship, think about that. Coming into the beginning of the year, we thought of Auburn and Texas Tech maybe playing a national championship. You go with the team that's stayed the hottest and been the most dominant, and that's Virginia. You stay with the Cavaliers. You can't pick against them. They're on a mission to prove everything last year was a fluke, and that's what they're trying to do. And they're going to get one step closer, as they will be the first team in Monday's national championship. So let's get over to the nightcap, the night game. And this game, boy, this is a fun game. This could be like your old 7-6 football game because you got the nitty-gritty, the blue chip, usual Michigan State, and then you got Texas Tech, the defensive juggernaut. You have two teams that are very similar. They have this never say die attitude.
Can I ask you one question?
Michigan State.
Do you have? I know you're a Duke fan. Do you have any interest or favoritism to any of the four teams that you would like to see?
Do you know who personally I would like to see? I'd like to see Auburn because
of the style they play.
I like.
You would like to see Auburn versus Texas Tech?
I would love to see that matchup. I'd love to see it. I said that last night because it's new, it's fresh, and it's a new beginning to maybe teams. If those two teams got to the national championship, it's not even about the program. It's about the recruiting. Oh my God, Auburn and Texas Tech, they're not just football schools. We could go there and maybe compete for a national championship.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'd love to see something fresh
outstanding
and new.
Coaches.
Yes.
You'd have two first-time winners, and since 1999, when UConn Huskies beat the Duke Blue Devils, they'd be the second team, because UConn was the first team, to be the second team to make their first Final Four, and in the same year win the national championship.
I would love to see a Texas Tech Auburn matchup because I think that would be so intriguing.
I feel like it's not going to happen.
I mean, we always want something new. We always want to see the new team, the new kid on the block against the usual. But
I didn't want Michigan State to win, and it was nothing against Michigan State. I wanted Duke to win because I wanted Zion in the tournament.
Yeah.
And I wanted,
it hurts. It hurts.
My pick was UNC Duke. I think
that's what most people wanted to see because when UNC Duke, I mean, what more can you get?
Michigan State's not a sexy team, but sexy doesn't win.
No, I'm sick of
doesn't win this tournament.
The only way talent wins in sports now, it seems, is in the NBA. But you don't see it in the NFL. You don't see it in MLB. It's always the experience, it's the leadership that always triumphs the talent. And that's why you see Gonzaga was probably the more talented team than Texas Tech. Michigan State, we knew, was not the more talented team than Duke. Auburn wasn't more talented than Kentucky. But Virginia over Purdue, they were more talented team. That's the only team.
This game, for me, is very simple. It's which star of either team has a bigger game and controls the game.
Yes.
For Texas Tech, Jared Culver, everything goes through him. He's their leading scorer, averaging almost 19 points a game, almost 6.5 rebounds a game, and almost 4 assists. He's a top 10 talent, okay? When he struggles, and I know he's struggling against Gonzaga, the team picked it up, but I think for them to win this game, he is going to have a good game. Not a great game. He's got to have what I just said. He's got to have around 17, 18 points, about 6-7 rebounds, about 4 or 5.
I mean,
and in Michigan State case, this is the same thing. This is the same thing.
Yeah, but we're talking exactly.
Jared Culver is the key for Texas. If in Michigan State's case, it's Cassius Winston. Everything runs through him. He's the leader. He's the commander in charge.
Well, Xavier Tillman has been very good for them.
But they don't really have a backup point guard. So if you can get him in foul trouble, Winston, you throw the rhythm of Michigan State out and you can beat them. But if not, he controls everything. He controls defensively. He controls offensively. He controls the game. He's the coach on the court. He's not going to be the best player, but he might have the most control of the game. Whoever has the better game of those two guys, that is the team that's going to win. I know there's other key components, but those two guys are such importance. When you talk Michigan State, you can't
go a sentence without mentioning the name Cassius.
Other than Izzo, he's the second most important. And the same thing with Chris Beard. It goes through Culver. Mm-hmm. Those two guys' importance on those teams, they both should be great games. Okay? There should be both teams in this game should give us a classic. I really truly believe that because the way Texas, especially in this game. Okay. The way Texas Tech is playing, and I hope they play their game. I want both teams to play their A game. Okay, the kid Matt Mooney has been rolling with them. He's been helping. And then Tyreek Owens, the big kid.
You see Jared Culver. You just said that they need him to play great. He struggled last week, but Matt Mooney picked it up. Moretti picked it up. Tariq Owens.
Well, Tariq Owens defensively has been.
Odiasi picked it up.
Almost
all
2.5
guys. They all picked it up. Game changers. Huge for them.
They're game changers.
They were huge for them last week. But Jared Culver, Ted, you hit it spot on. This comes down to the two star players. One of them's an All-American, and Jared Culver is going to be a top 5 pick. It comes down to these two players. Who is the more dominant? Who's the more effective player? But you got to have a secondary option. You got to have it. Kenny Goins, Nick Ward, Xavier Tillman. They have to be big like they played against Duke.
They had big games.
Just like not Xavier.
And Texas Tech.
Just like Texas Tech had against Gonzaga last week.
Texas Tech cannot get dominated on the boards. That is one thing that Michigan State is known for.
Oh, of course.
Since day one, rebounding. But Duke out-rebounded Michigan State, and that is what Texas Tech. They have to maintain. They have to be at least even rebounding with them.
Who are you picking? Who's playing Virginia, according to us, in the national championship?
I got to be boring. I have to pick Michigan State.
Okay. I think because and
I had a description. No, I think Izzo because he's been there. I think the Michigan State team has something special with them. And I just think that Cassius Winston as the guard, he will make the right play at the end of the day where I don't think Culver will.
Pops just texted me. I texted him.
What did he say?
He said Auburn players.
I know
I'm picking Texas Tech.
Listen,
this team has been the most dominant
team. It's not what I want. It's what I think will happen. I think Michigan State and Virginia will make it, but I would love to see Texas Tech.
Texas Tech will make the national championship. They are a team that believes in itself. That not many people in this country believed in them coming into the tournament. Their defense is incredible. Just ask Gonzaga, ask Buffalo, ask Michigan, ask Northern Kentucky. They stifle. They come at you. They attack you. And they make it very uncomfortable for you for 40 minutes. They have the best player on the court. Their defense is going to be huge for them. This game is going to come down to the wire. And they've been the most dominant team. Texas Tech will play Virginia. The two most dominant teams in this entire tournament. That's what it comes down to. The two most dominant teams will play Monday night. I want to know what folks think. I want to know what our fans think and followers think. Who is going to play Monday night? Texas Tech, Michigan State, Auburn, Virginia. We'll see what happens. It should be great. I can't wait to watch the Final Four.
Roper's son had Michigan State, Auburn. And Michigan
Good for
State
him. I hope Roper's son wins. God bless him for picking that matchup if that does. That would be truly amazing that he picked that. I hope it's a great Final Four. That's all I care about. It's been a good tournament. We'll give our grades later on in the week after Monday. We'll talk about the national championship. We'll preview that as well. So stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will be joined by Joe Aguirre. Yankees, Red Sox, Astros. What the hell's going on with these teams? And the New York Mets playing some good ball right now. We'll talk about that in a few. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. Be right back, folks.
want sports? We've got sports. Here on Keys to the City. Brought to you by All Noise Radio. Here's your hosts, Trevor and Ted.
1-1 on Gleyber Torres. That one is driven deep to left field. Going back, Smith looking up. See ya! Home run Torres. Yankees on the board. It's 3-1 Orioles.
Well, Gleyber Torres fills that column. That's his first home run of the year. And that was kind of a no-doubter here at Camden Yards.
Come on now, here we go.
The 0-2. High fly ball. Left field. Smith back. Track. Wall. See ya. Yankees lead 5-4. A 3-run blast for Torres.
Up until that point, I know it's only been 10 games, and we are joined by the host of the Roll Call, the president of Clovercrest Media, Joe Aguirre, to talk some baseball, the usual. You know the usual. Can I ask before we talk baseball, are you going to watch the Final Four, and who would you pick? Have you been watching, be honest?
I have not.
Okay.
I mean, it's been. I actually watched the Texas Tech win the NIT last night.
Oh, Texas?
The Texas, rather, yeah.
Maybe the state of Texas wins the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. He hasn't been watching. I get to.
Yeah. I tuned out.
It's okay. I just wanted to ask.
It's all good.
So up until that point yesterday, what the hell was going on with the Yankees? I know the injuries. I literally told Ted, I was like, Ted, Tulowitzki's now on the DL.
I told you.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I told you to strain calf. I was watching the game.
I told you when he got hurt.
That's what I see.
But it's just
Ks. That's what I see.
Listen, the
keeps
Yankees
piling up.
The Yankees injury list
11 deep
is an all-star team.
There's no team in Major League Baseball has more than 8.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But look,
$460 million, and we didn't count Ellsbury.
It's not an excuse.
The great Ellsbury.
It's not
Joe's
an excuse,
favorite player,
though.
right?
Yeah, well, again, he's gone nowhere fast. He hasn't even picked up a baseball yet. He's still in the stretching phase.
So I'm talking
Not
about
good.
yesterday's game. How important does he? I think. Well, Judge is going to do his thing, but he has to be the most important player going forward, especially with all these injuries now, with Stanton out, Didi, Tulo, the list goes on. He has to be the most important player on this team. Would you agree with that statement?
Oh, yeah. The Yankees are only going to go as far as Aaron Judge is going to take them. That is obviously their best player.
Yeah.
And obviously before yesterday, he had been the best player all year for this team as far as hitting was concerned. I mean, you could make the argument for LeMahieu or some other guys, but this team goes as far as Aaron Judge goes.
Gleyber has to be. We know Judge is going to do his thing, but Gleyber is going to have to be the reason the Yankees continue to be successful. Am I right about that? Like last year. Remember last year? He came up and he was like the jolt the Yankees needed. I feel like that's what happened. What they need. It's not. I mean, Sanchez is struggling again. Hopefully he gets his stuff together. I mean, you look very disappointed that he's kind of struggling right now.
Well, look,
because you were high on him coming into this year.
He's hitting the long balls. He is delivering. He's knocked in some runs. The catching has been better. It's been the throwing.
You don't seem so
he had 4 throwing errors last year, and he's got 4 already in 5 games this year.
Does that mean
6 games.
Does that mean he's better? Is it the glove then?
It's like this guy keeps finding new problems to have and new I love the Kraken. I'm as high on that guy as anybody. You could listen. The guy had a bad year. Look at Chris Davis and tell me Gary Sanchez is a bad ball player.
Trust me, I don't. I laugh because I look at Luke Voigt. I think he's trying to hit more home runs this year. You could see it in his stance. He's trying to pull the ball more. That's why his numbers are down. Yeah, he hit a home run last night. He hit a home run the first day, but he really has been inconsistent.
Well, he's been killing them with runners on 0 for 8 going into the home run last night. Horrible.
I do gotta laugh. You guys, I think you're both overreacting right now. I understand the.
No, I know it's 10 games, but we talked about this. I know why we're overreacting.
I didn't talk about this with you guys online.
I know why we're overreacting.
I just think when you look at baseball right now, I picked the Cubs to win the division. The Cubs look like the worst team in baseball. They're not good. Killed by the Braves.
Yeah, they're not good.
I think, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I saw last night they were down 8-0, and then the other night they were down 9-0.
They're not good right now.
They're not good at all. And then you look at the Red Sox. I gave you a picture last night.
The Red Sox right now, we'll get into the Red Sox.
I know,
but they're not playing well
either. The Red Sox are not playing well. The Astros. Baseball is such an eternity. Because I know we're going to talk about the Mets too, but like the Mets always seem like the Jets. They're great in April, and then by Memorial Day, you're worrying about your golf game. The Yankees right now, what scares me the most is these injuries could be nagging injuries that could lead to other things down the road.
Especially that Andujar
And I
injury.
think in baseball, like in any sport, you want to get off to a good start. I think it gives that type of momentum because baseball's such a drag-out, long season that like you're going to go through droughts and bad points of the season. So if you can get on a good run and start early, especially like I look at the Yankees, if they could lost like maybe 1 or 2 games so far, and you look at how bad the Red Sox, you could get a 4 or 5 game lead early, and that could make a significant difference.
But I know why we're
later in the
overreacting,
season.
and we talked about this earlier in your office. Is because the Reds. No, well that is the case. But the Red Sox, and you even said it. You don't seem that the Red Sox fans don't really care. Well, because they just won a World Series. The Yankees, we're still waiting to win our title. We have so much pressure coming in. Everybody's saying
they don't have no injuries. We do. They don't have 11 guys named
Stanton and Duhar, Tulowitzki.
Yeah, superstars. Literally a virtual superstar.
But they already won.
You have an ace. You have a closer. You have a starting center fielder. You have a starting third baseman. You have a powerhouse outfielder / DH. I mean, I don't even want to go.
That's not even the pitching staff. You haven't even named the pitching staff.
Well, I did. I said Severino, the ace, and I said closer Betances.
But don't forget Jordan Montgomery.
CeCe's still out.
CeCe, I mean,
but they're not. They're calm, cool because they just won a championship, and I think us Yankee fans are freaking out because coming into this year,
because they lost to Baltimore and they lost to the
Tigers.
The Tigers, and you think
I heard a lot of people, Ted, say the Yankees should start off the season 9-0, 8-1, 7-2.
I'll be one right here. I'm raising my hand. I did.
That would be great.
But this isn't football.
Not how,
this is not football. If the Patriots are playing the Jets and then Miami and then like the Buffalo Bills are like, oh, they're 3-0.
When he was going
the Yankees in baseball. I mean, look at the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, okay? When you look at the Tampa Bay Devil Rays every year, they're like, all right, they have no one, they're garbage. And then they win 90 games. You're like, how is it possible? Because in baseball, there's so many different factors in a game. Pitching, injuries, 1-out hits, 2-out hits, sac flies, making the right pitching call. You still hate on Aaron Boone. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Okay,
I'm not an idiot just because I don't like. Sorry, you don't like Pat Shermer. Does that make me call you that?
Hold up.
I don't like Aaron Boone.
Aaron Boone is an idiot.
No, but I never liked the hire from day one. I'm not one of those fans that loved him.
Why?
I'm with you.
Why do you think so, bud?
Okay, Brett Gardner is off to a historically bad start.
I agree with that.
Okay.
So is Frazier.
And yet, I'm going to pencil him into the leadoff spot. Now, we know statistically speaking, Aaron Judge is a better hitter when there's guys on base. And yet, you've chosen to start all but one game so far with an automatic out hitting in front of Judge. That's not smart. Listen, DJ LeMahieu isn't going to hit 600 all year. But while he's doing it, Put him at the top of the lineup. It's a no-brainer. I can't understand. Glaber had a great day yesterday. Hitting 7th? Come on.
I know they're decimated by injury.
I do agree.
Take advantage. Play the hot hand until you get your team back. I'll say this about Tampa Bay. I thought you made a really good point about them. Tampa Bay plays to their strengths.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And the Yankees do not. And for anybody who's like, oh, these guys should start learning how to hit, they're not going to do that. Stop. This is a home run hitting team. They have to hit home runs to win games.
That's the way they play.
And they're going to strike out a lot on the way. So cry all you want about it. That's baseball today. The Yankees are going to win about 100 games just hitting the long ball. That's what's going to happen. Start dealing with it.
No, I've never been
The pitching's been outstanding so far.
The bullpen's been great. I mean, other than the blown save by Chapman the other night, they've been pretty good. The
clutch hitting, and they haven't homered like they're supposed to be homering. When that starts to come, they'll start.
They also don't play good in the cold. They don't.
I don't think.
Well, again, Major League Baseball's got to stop this nonsense.
My father made a good point. These guys are playing in Florida, Arizona, all in these nice warm venues, and then you come back up
And it's 30 degrees
like the
out.
Northeast teams
It's a
and
drastic-
Colorado
it's a
teams
drastic
and teams
change.
like that, and they're like this. They're like, what do you expect them to be? Do you expect them to just come in and hit 70 home runs off the bat?
No, you know what I expect? Guys to be banged up, going from playing in a comfortable environment to playing in the
come in the
freezing
cold weather,
And that might
exactly.
explain why you got 11 guys on the disabled list now.
Look, I know everybody wants to jump on me on Aaron Boone. Look, I never liked Aaron Boone from day one. When they hired him and they got rid of Joe Girardi, I never liked Aaron Boone. So I'm going to stick to that. I've been a man of my word on Aaron Boone. I've never been one of those guys. I love him.
I'm
And
with him.
He's like,
You bashed me, though, and I still think last year was a... I know we're not going to get into it again. The failure.
We got an
I
argument.
didn't bash you.
When I said the Yankee season last year was a failure, I know you got.
It's not a failure. You can't call it a failure.
That's what I said.
It's
I said if they don't play the Red Sox in the first round,
a major-
and they play the Astros or the Indians, they probably win and then play the Red Sox in a
major disappointment is exactly what I said. There's no reason why he shouldn't have taken that team to the championship.
I've never been a fan of Aaron Boone. I wasn't a fan of him when he was in the booth at ESPN, and I hate the move that he got hired as the Yankees because I do not think he's the right man for the job, and I've stuck to that since day one.
He just thinks because the Yankees are that good that you could just put anybody at manager.
No, I just don't like his
I just
philosophy.
don't think he's the
I
right
just don't
guy.
think I don't like his philosophy. I don't like what he did.
But you know what? A lot of people didn't like Joe either.
Who,
in
Joe?
the beginning?
Joe?
No, Joe Girardi.
Oh, they hated.
Everybody loves Joe.
They hated Joe Torre. They hated Joe Girardi.
Because I remember
Don Mattingly was available.
Because I remember.
But it's all about the analytics now, and I'm sick of the damn analytics.
I remember people hating on Joe Torre because he would overuse certain players in the bullpen or do certain things. He was always questioned big time in his early years.
Oh, yeah.
Even when he did win the champ, the one year he did in '97, they always questioned one of his moves.
I don't care.
They talked about even before he won the 3 championships. Should we fire him? Should they not? He was questioned being fired multiple times. But he was a good manager of keeping the team together.
Look,
and they had great veteran presence on that team. And here's the thing, Joe made a good point. This team is all in or all. It's like I got all my chips, I'm gonna put it all on black. And if it hits it, I win. If not,
if the Yankees,
where the old Yankees go, I'm gonna take $5 chip and put on 25.
Yep.
I'm gonna put on this.
I'm not going to listen to another Yankee fan and say, oh, if they make it to the ALDS, oh, they're fine. They're still young. We said it 2 years ago when they were a game away from the ALCS. They fired Girardi. Last year they get to the ALDS. They get wiped off the face of the earth by the Red Sox. And if they lose again in the ALDS, Aaron Boone should be fired. And I don't care, and I stand to that. He should be fired if 2 straight years, that if he gets to an ALDS with a team that is constructed for a team that you think, other than maybe the Red Sox and the Astros, should be fighting for a World Series title.
I'll ask you a question
if
right now.
He doesn't get there, he should be fired.
Better? That's automatically going to make this team put over the top. Because
I don't know I don't know the managers that are going to come out though. That's the thing. I don't know.
I'll go with my old saying: coaches coach, players plays. If Joe's my
but
pitcher,
the manager has to make the right lineup plays and to make decisions.
Okay, but if
baseball's different from like football and basketball because the managers have more of an impact than I would say in any other sport.
I agree.
Because of the analytics now in baseball has taken over to that point.
So a guy throws a bat. So Mark Wohlers throws a 3-1 slider to Jim Leyritz instead of throwing his best pitch, which was a fastball.
That's one instant. Give me everything else. What about it? What about the analytics?
Okay.
A guy's batting
Luke
over
Voit is 0 for 8 with points and scoring.
And then Aaron Boone takes him out or something. I'm just saying it comes down to more managing.
Again, and this is something I know we've discussed. The idea.
I'm very passionate about Aaron Boone. I just don't think he should be.
The idea of analytics is again, you can't be overly dependent or reliant on the analytics. You just can't. Yeah, you really do. Again, we talked about it. You could be 0 for 10 off a pitcher, and the rule of thumb is either A, that guy owns you, or B, you're due. You're due. It's one or the other, and I don't think that analytics. Again, the smart thing to do based on analytics. He's 0 for 10. Get him out of there. Get a pinch hitter in. Or again, if you got that gut feeling, and that's where you have to have a good manager, a guy who can look at the numbers and be like, you know what? Bucket. We're gonna go for this. We're gonna. This guy's got to come through here. You got to believe in your players. You got 3 guys on the bench, so the Yankees certainly aren't in a position anyway where you're going to see guys generally pinch hitting.
I know it's only game 10, but it's just Aaron Boone frustrates me. Let's get over to the Red Sox.
I will say this though.
Let's get over to the.
I played it before we went to this segment. I think last night's game hopefully can rejuvenate them. Because you felt like if they lost that, they were kind of going downward. They were like falling downhill. You know, like
because it feels like nobody's playing well right now for the Yankees.
Well, James Paxton would have been 0-2 had the first inning been the end result of that game with both losses to Baltimore. That's not what you want from your second ace or whatever you want to call Paxton.
Yeah.
You know, he was able to pull himself out of that and turn it around. Thank goodness.
Speaking of pitching, the Boston Red Sox. Wow, I know we talk about the Yankees and they just won and the Red Sox just lost again. But like we just said, I think the Red Sox they're fine because they just won a championship. Us Yankee fans are so like, we need to win one. We need to win one.
Playoffs, Red Sox fans will be happy with that.
He thinks that. What did you say to me? And I was like, there's no way it's going to happen.
Okay.
There's no way it's going to happen.
Get this.
Listen to this.
The last 5 teams that have allowed 41 runs in their first 5 games have finished with an average of 67 wins.
There's no way the Boston Red Sox are winning less than 7.
I'm not saying analytics. If you're asking the analytics guy, it's not looking real good.
So their ERA right now, their starting pitching ERA is 9.08. It's the highest through 8 games by any team starters in the last 10 seasons. And we're not even talking about their bullpen. Their bullpen, 6.
And the bullpen's been the best part of the team so far.
Team's batting average against them, 268.
Yeah.
Well, they're tied for second last in the AL.
Well, Joe's pick, Joe had Oakland winning the division. So Oakland, maybe we're underestimating them.
What do you mean? Well, Oakland,
it's not like... They're no bums. Okay,
no, they're no slouches.
They're no slouches. And I don't even know who this kid is, but the center fielder is making a hell of a name for himself as the best.
Have you seen him?
Yeah,
he's throwing up Betts and Bogarts. I mean,
yeah, that's
impressive. And they had Matt Chapman and a bunch of other really good players that I don't know of yet because
they've always got a great farm system. Oakland, they're like Tampa, where every year they lose a couple guys and they replenish from within, and
they're probably the two most exciting teams. Tampa Bay. As a Red Sox fan, I think I'd take it the same way as.
Would you be nervous or no? I mean, I know it's 8 games.
Ask me on April 31st what the Yankees and Red Sox.
Let me ask you. You got a radio show of Red Sox podcast.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
So I had Nate Zielinski from our new podcast Fenway Fodder on, and it's funny. They're not freaking out, but they're obviously not happy right now. It's
catching their attention.
They were concerned what the bullpen was going to look like. Matt Barnes has already kind of stepped up in that bullpen, as is Brazier. I know the ERA doesn't speak to success, but they feel good about the back end of that bullpen now. They expected these starters to do a lot better than they've done.
Price.
Would you agree or disagree, Ted? Those guys are all probably going to turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, this
eventually, yes, 100%. Once the weather gets warmer, everybody's going to turn it around.
They're too good of players. It's like if Michael Jordan had a bad shooting game, or 2 or 3, how long do you really think it would last? Like
no more than another game,
unless he had no legs.
No more than another game.
Shoot. Like the Red Sox, Chris Sales is no slouch.
He's one of the best pitchers in baseball.
He has potential of Hall of Fame pitching. Yes. So does David Price. Okay, that's what he was expected when he was.
David Price in Hall of Fame?
He could be. That's why he has the potential.
What are you drinking over there? Are you drinking water?
Might be vodka. No.
Oh boy,
but
gotta be.
Do you think Craig Kimbrell right now is sitting back and seeing a team like the Red Sox? Sorry, I'll get back to you.
No.
He's sitting back, relaxing, and seeing these teams with all these bullpen issues right now. He's just like sitting back and just waiting. He's like, hey, I'm free. I know you want that. I know you don't want to pay me, but damn, your teams look a little struggling right now. You got teams that need bullpen help. The Brewers just lost one of their big guys in the bullpen. Do they go get him? The Red Sox struggling right now. Kimbrell must be loving this.
If I'm Kimbrell or Keuchel, I am definitely sitting back.
Well, Keuchel's a starting pitcher, but Kimbrell specifically must be loving
I'm saying both of these guys, man, just sit back.
Can you believe they're still not on a team right now?
Get your throwing regimen. Get yourself loose and ready to go because...
Can you believe that they're still not signed?
Yes. Yes, I can.
I can't.
I can.
Okay. I can see
what they're asking for is still outrageous.
They're going to be like a trade deadline guy.
Kimbrell's probably maybe the first or second best closer in the game, and Keuchel's been a very good pitcher. Yes, he's kind of decreased a couple years, but still, to see those guys still available, that teams that desperately need a pitcher or bullpen help is just...
Once the Red Sox start hitting, they'll be fine, because if you could score 8 to 10 runs a game like they normally do, doesn't matter how bad your pitching is.
You can have a 6 ERA. You're still going to win a lot of those games.
And that's the truth.
Might be a lot of 10-8s, but you'll take it.
I mean, I've watched Red Sox games, and I haven't seen highlights of Mookie Betts running around the base. I haven't seen JD Martinez.
JD's having a great year. He leads all the categories in the Red Sox right now. He's having a pretty good year. Batting 300, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs right now.
I haven't seen many highlights.
Yeah, because there's not many highlights from the Red Sox right now. They're struggling right now. The Red Sox and Yankees and even the Astros, teams like that, they're struggling.
I don't want to change the subject, but I just wanted to ask the question to Joe is what I see in the paper the other day. I'm seeing a lot more teams now. I don't know if you've noticed. Bogarts just signed an extension with the Red Sox. Ronald Osuna, after his 1 year. These teams are jumping on these guys before they ever hit free agency. Not that they
want to keep them. I want to keep them. Why do you think Hicks? Why do you think the Yankees did it with Hicks? Yankees did it with Hicks.
But the players are agreeing to it before they hit free agency. And I'm wondering if it's because of this year, they're not knowing if they're going to get what they think they're going to get. Because they all say, like, Ronald Osuna would have got more than $100 million.
Well, sure he would have. And again, listen.
I'm sorry to take away from...
To give a guy that age is, what was it?
8 years, $100 million.
8 years. So now you're only buying 2 extra years on that guy at an undervalued price. If you look at what Arenado got in his final year,
8 years, 260.
Yeah, but before he got the contract extension, what was he awarded in arbitration? 28 million?
26.
Highest
ever.
And DeGrom got a bump to 17.
Yep.
And so I think these teams are looking at it, and it's like, this guy's a stud.
We can't let him go.
By years 4, 5, and 6, he's gonna.
We don't want him.
Start to see big awards like that.
We don't want to let him go. So they're just.
You're gonna lock in. And again, if you and Hicks might be not the greatest example because he's not exactly a youngster, but him 7 years at $10 million per, assuming he can stay healthy and play 135, 140 games, that's a steal.
Because I bet on the open market he probably would have got more.
Absolutely.
If he had another good season this year, he would have got more.
Absolutely.
Hicks. They would have gave him like a 4-year, $100 million deal or something, or 5 years.
I could see him being like a Keuchel or Kimbrel, asking for a big price and not getting signed.
Could get the deal that he got. I think Hicks, if he was on the open market, would certainly get.
McCutchen stays healthy. Hicks can't stay healthy.
So
that's why I don't think. I think his value would diminish.
With that being said,
the Mets.
Well,
we are Keys to the City. You're listening to Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We are with Joe Aguirre, the host of the Roll Call. You can follow us at Instagram, Twitter, Keys to the City, and YouTube as well. Go subscribe, check us out as well. Let's get back to the Mets. Jacob deGrom, you're going to probably have to owe me a sub because he's already off to a fantastic start right now. And Trev's starting to get those bets
I said
back.
20-plus wins.
I don't think he's going to get 20-plus. 18 maybe.
Hold up. Let me clarify
I'm not
something.
betting with you.
He'll have 12 by the All-Star game.
I'm going to need to clarify something because Trevor came in today
with a message, with a statement.
He literally kicked your door down.
He was like, deGrom's a great pitcher. And
best pitcher in baseball.
You're going to owe me a sub, which is great.
You thought it was Harper going.
Hold up. I want people to understand something. I didn't say Jacob deGrom is not a great pitcher.
Oh, I know that.
Is not what I said.
I'm making
what I said was just to clarify.
I'm going to comment and tweet and say that Joe Aguirre thinks Jacob deGrom.
He's garbage. He's garbage.
No, he never said he was garbage.
All I said was, look, despite the historic numbers, there's games where he left in the after the 7th, or he probably could have pitched one more inning, and it would have made a difference.
So that record last year,
the 10 wins just didn't do it for me. Again, 13, 14, 15. All right,
now
you're pushing my buttons. 10's insulting. 10's what a good relief pitcher gets. That's all I'm saying. In a year where you had a 20-game winner. How do you tell the 20-game winner, well, we don't value that stat that literally decides who goes to the World Series in the playoffs?
He's talking about Aaron Nola.
He had 18
wins last year.
I could use this in a basketball reference, the James Harden effect. You score 40 points a game, you had a good team, but you're not the MVP. Giannis is because he's got better numbers all around. I know it's different, a little bit different because it's not like Giannis's numbers are 20 points a game where the other guy's scoring 40. Mm-hmm. But like when they had like DeGrom's numbers, I think he was number one in pretty much everything, 1 and 2 in every statistical category.
Yeah.
In a pitching, and now because like we joked last year, you're like WAR. Like you were like, so you're like, so he is
10. It was 10 wins above a person.
You're like
10 over 10. That doesn't make sense. That means that another guy in 30 starts would have won 0 games. I don't
agree with that.
Either I don't understand WAR at all, or I just don't agree with that. That doesn't.
Which
seem
I know
possible.
you understand baseball, and you know the game, and you're too smart about it to not understand WAR. So it's just like you just don't agree with, which I totally understand, because I don't know how you evaluate a player like, well, Trout is 6.5. So like, how do you determine that he's 6'1" player? I can understand a pitcher being that much because a pitcher really controls the game. One batter really doesn't, because there's 8 other guys.
Well, right.
There's about 15 other guys that play in a game.
Mike Trout was...
Look, if a guy hits 310, 35 homers, 120 RBI, that's a great season.
That's a really good season.
That's a great season.
Might win MVP.
You could probably get a replacement player. He goes 277,
17 home runs, and
26 homers, 96 RBIs.
17's too low.
Is that really that much worse?
Yes.
Is that really that much worse?
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
No.
I don't see it.
No.
Again, I know a lot of people want it. They call Giancarlo Stanton a compiler. He hits like they did with he hits all the home runs when they're either up or down in the game.
So it's home runs.
As if scoring runs at any point is bad. Yeah. We don't like pitchers to get wins, but we want to win the game. Again, I don't understand the logic on.
So the guy pitches 5 and 2 shutout game, shutout, and it's 0-0 when he leaves, or it's 1-0 and they win.
Let me ask you this: for the Mets to be successful, is it their pitching or is it their offense? Because they have a decent offense. They got some players.
Well, listen, clearly it's the offense, because if they scored 3 runs a game last year, DeGrom would have won 31 starts.
And yesterday, Syndergaard pitched.
That's what I heard.
And Syndergaard pitched great last night, but Strasburg matched them, and the Nationals won, and they won 4-0. So the Mets didn't score. If they scored a couple of runs, the other thing I took from last night was the Nationals coach let Strasburg throw 103 pitches last night in a second, which is pretty remarkable that you let a pitcher, they're always like,
why did you see Trevor Bauer pitched 117 last night?
Did he really?
Yeah, and he got pulled. And he had 7. He had a no-hitter going into 7.
You got to pull him though.
Well, they pulled him.
And
I would have given him 150.
And he even said afterwards, because he was asked about it, and he's a mouthy guy anyway.
Yeah, he'll tell you the truth.
He said, he was like, no, he talked to Francona in the dugout, and they pretty much were both on the same page. It's too early in the season at 117. If it was the 8th inning at 117, maybe you run him out there and see what you can do. But
if it's the 9th, if he's going to the 9th,
absolutely.
What do you got?
No, you're looking at the computer. Who's saying? Is Steve?
No. Everyone.
What's going on? I want to know. What are
Sandy
people
Martin
saying?
said, where these guys are good. What campus? This is the CSB campus up in Farmington.
Oh, cool.
No one said it was one. If DeGrom was on the Yankees or Red Sox, how many wins would you think he would have?
That is stupid. Stop playing that game. It's not real.
It's not realistic.
You can't do that.
That's the hypothetical. That's the hypothetical game.
But everyone says that, like, if this guy, like, if Michael Jordan played in today's basketball, how many points? He averaged 35 points a game when you could play defense. How many points would Michael Jordan play?
If Aaron Judge played for the Colorado Rockies, he would hit 86 home runs. How's that?
You should tweet that.
He would hit 86 home runs, and Giancarlo Stanton would have 77. It would be an amazing season. That is so stupid.
It'd be like the
you can't do that.
It's the hypothetical.
You can't do that.
It's the what if game.
So we always play the hypothetical.
No, in today's day and age,
listen,
we do.
Hypotheticals are fun to play, but it's not realistic. If DeGrom was on the Yankees, he wouldn't have a 1.70 ERA. That wouldn't happen.
In the AL?
He would be pitching. Yes. First of all, he'd have to face 9 actual major league hitters every night.
Which the 8th hitter in the NL
You
is.
devalue the NL, I guess.
Let me tell you something.
You devalue the NL.
Brian Forster and I watched the Cubs-Braves game last night. I sat through about 6 innings of it.
Were you falling asleep?
I felt like I was watching a different sport. You know what I mean? Like, it's everything about that. And I like it. It's fun. It's pure. But my whole life's been the DH. You know what I'm saying? It's a better brand of baseball.
Trevor,
It's exciting.
And it's funny when you say that. The way I look at it is the same way basketball is played now. People like basketball now more because it's more scoring, more three-pointers, up and down. Same way I like football. People don't want to see 3 yards and a caught adjusted to 7-3. We want to see 50 to 49.
Well,
it's just like Joe said, with the DH, if your DH is good enough, it expands your lineup so much more so that you make your team so much.
I was having another thought last night watching that garbage style of play. I'm just kidding.
Poor Brian.
I do enjoy National League Baseball. I don't know.
Stop. I don't know. You since last year, you've kind of like torched the NL. You kind of just said it's just the AL and the AL.
Well, I think they have better pitchers.
So here's the thing: if you're a National League, because Brian and I were discussing this last night, how hard it is when you have to go to the interleague play and then in the World Series or whatever. If you're a National League team, you absolutely don't ever have to play American League Baseball. You can simply have any one of your pinch hitters, because you literally have pinch hitters. You could just have them lay down a bunt. And you can run right through your 4 or 5 bench guys in a game against the American League. You could literally set a different guy up every time, or just leave one guy and let him bunt every time as if he's the pitcher. And you can do everything else the way you always do it. If you're an American League team playing in a National League park, boy, your pitcher has to hit. And that is a completely different animal. So, and this is one of the things.
Have you seen Zach Greinke and DeGrom?
This is why I was saying, too, about when you look at the Tampa Bay Rays, they play to their strengths. Last year, they had a good bullpen, a good collection of bullpen arms. Let's have them start the games.
Do you know DeGrom has more RBIs than he's given up runs this year?
Jacob DeGrom.
Zach Greinke had 2 home runs.
Is a great pitcher. He's a great athlete. I respect him. I love him.
He was a center
field.
A
170 ERA is, my goodness.
It's like
unbelievable.
That's like Joe Guyer and wiffle ball.
That's me in wiffle ball. That is historically low. I love it.
Ted wants to take you on in wiffle ball. Can I bring the bongo
can't
back?
Get behind a 10-win Cy Young Award.
That's why it's key for the Mets this year, because of the division being so much better than it ever has been, to hit. And to hit when their best pitchers are up there, especially when Syndergaard gives you 7 innings of only 2 runs. You don't give up 2 runs, your team should be in the game. Look at the Dodgers right now. Their pitching's not that great, but when you got Cody Bellinger who's lighting it up. He's got a home run in every game, it seems like, this year. Jack Peterson they're hitting home runs left and right. It gives you can, as a pitcher, and they said this before, if your team's run, it's like free ball. You know what? You give up a run, who gives it? You can be more aggressive as a pitcher, and it makes a huge difference. Hey, and I want to see the Mets do well.
Nolan Rich says, you do realize DeGrom had 20 Ks in 14 and 2/3 innings against the Yankees at a 2.45 ERA. You noticed the ERA was 2.45?
That's still awesome.
I mean, it's still amazing.
But that's 3/4 of a run more against a good team that you saw 2 times. And how many wins did you have against them? 1? You won 1 of the 2 games? Right? I mean, again,
I'll take DeGrom on the Yankees.
I like DeGrom. I would take DeGrom. DeGrom on the Yankees would probably win about 16, 17, 18 games easily. Have an ERA in the mid-2s.
I think he would win more
great.
than that, only in the sense that he's a better pitcher than Severino. And if Severino can win 18,
I disagree with you 100%.
Really?
And here's the thing. And we talked about, I mentioned this to you, I know we talked about this before, when CeCe came to the Yankees, he still was an ace. He could still shut you down on any given night. He's a complete games freak in a league where you don't have that anymore. That's how he was when the Yankees picked him up. The Yankees averaged 6 runs a game his first season with the team. And his ERA was about 3.10 or 3.15, somewhere in that range. CeCe was pitching to the scoreboard. CeCe didn't have to shut you out anymore.
Didn't need to.
He was pitching a whole different way because he didn't have to do that. Jacob DeGrom wouldn't be pitching his brains out if he was on the Yankees and he was getting 5.8 runs per game. So again, your hypotheticals are stupid. The Yankees bullpen also blows saves occasionally. So just assuming that you put DeGrom on the Yankees, he's going to win 28 games. I'm sorry, that's not how it works.
But it's more likely to win more games because the lineup is so much better for the Yankees than the Mets. Right?
Would you win more games on a better team? Yes.
Obviously.
Can I say it's 8 more games than the other team? That's insane.
Then
right
Blake
now,
Snell is good then.
Out of the 3 Northeast teams that we cover, the New York Mets have the best record so far. But that will change.
But this time next week, that could be completely different.
If you ask every Mets fan, they always say, we're good.
They're going to the World Series.
No, they're good in April and May. And
It's
then
like
by
the Jets.
Memorial Day,
After one game, they're winning the Super Bowl.
we can watch golf.
Nolan Rich, Max Scherzer is a better pitcher than Jacob DeGrom.
No, I'll take Jacob
But he
DeGrom.
beat him the other night. Yeah, that was one game. Relax yourself.
I'll take Jacob DeGrom.
Listen, I'm sorry, but Scherzer has a much longer track record and more Cy Young awards.
I would take
More All-Star game starts.
I would take
more postseason experience. Stop.
I would take Jacob DeGrom.
DeGrom's had 2 really outstanding seasons so far. Yes,
He's got.
Scherzer's done way better. So
He's got to
give
prove.
me a
I
break.
understand.
He's got the longevity.
I got you.
Thank you.
It's just like Mahomes. You said he's got to have a better.
Gotta have another.
I love DeGrom. Please don't take that the wrong way, people. You got to have more than 10 wins for a
He's going to
Cy
go
Young.
on Twitter now. I hate Jacob DeGrom.
No, he doesn't. But he.
I know. I'm kidding around.
Let's trade Judge to Colorado. I want to see a 100-homer season.
He beats Barry Bonds' record.
Easily in the first half.
Wow.
And the only reason
Joe, come on.
Yeah, in the first half.
come on.
No, that's hype. I can't play the hypothetical game, but everybody else can.
I know.
Okay.
I love you. I love you.
Thank you.
You're the best. That was the energetic Joe Aguirre, the host of the Roll Call. Joe, we'll see you next week.
I'm looking forward.
We are Keys to the City. We're going to be talking about our mock draft. We just posted up recently about an hour ago. We're going to discuss that quickly. We are Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We will be right back, folks.
You're listening to Keys to the City, brought to you by All Noise Radio. Here's your host, Trevor and Ted.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, liking. Subscribe to us at Facebook. Follow our page. Twitter, Instagram, Keys to the City, and YouTube as well. We just posted Mock Draft 2.0 just about an hour ago. And it's coming around. I mean, 20 days away. We are 20 days away from the NFL draft. And this is also one of my favorite times of the year because I just love to know the fact that March Madness is here as well, and the NFL draft. When March Madness is here, the NFL draft is next. And that's all it means to me. Wake up over there.
What do you mean wake up? I'm
kidding. I'm messing
the comments. I'm looking at the post.
I'm messing around with you. I'm only messing around with you. So, mock draft. Look, people, we don't know what's going to happen in 20 days. We don't know who's going to be the number one pick. We don't know.
We don't know.
Hypothetically. Here we go. Word of the day, Joe, is hypothetically.
Hypothetically, we know it's either Kyle Murray or Nick Bosa.
Here's the thing. We don't know what the hell is going to happen. We don't know if Kyler Murray is going to be the number one pick. We don't know if the Cardinals are going to stick with Josh Rosen and take Nick Bosa. We don't know that.
Why can't they have both quarterbacks?
I just don't see that happen. Hold on. Why would you take in this? Hold on. Why would you take in this case have two quarterbacks when you know you need so much more help and depth around the entire team that'd be a wasted pick?
Competition.
No, it's stupid.
You find out who.
It's stupid.
No. Competition. You find out who the best guy is.
Stupid, Ted. Come on, that's stupid.
Okay, what if Rosen outperforms Kyle Murray? You could trade him.
You can.
And I know this is different,
but just do it now.
Because Brady got hurt or whatever, was suspended, and Garoppolo had 4 great games, and all of a sudden he got paid $130 million. What's to say that having 2 good quarterbacks on your team? Matt Flynn for the Packers, bam, had a good game for Aaron Rodgers. We just talked about this, Trev. Week 17 against Detroit a couple years ago. He literally got a 4
or 5 year deal.
He got it from Seattle.
Huge contract.
And then they drafted
Russell Wilson.
He beat him out.
Yep.
Okay, we've seen. Why not have 2? I know they always say 2 quarterbacks is like having no quarterbacks. And I know you have so many pressing needs. But if Kyle Murray...
What did we say last year? Remember we talked about this a year ago with Cleveland? Remember we talked about this 2 years ago with last year with Cleveland? With the number 1 and 4 pick. What if they took 2 quarterbacks with the both picks?
And find out who the best one it is and then trade the other one. I don't think it will happen. I know that.
That's hypothetically at its finest.
What's the point of drafting Kyle Murray, letting him see how it goes, And you can always trade him at a different point. You could trade Rosen after the draft.
Look, I said this for months now that the Arizona Cardinals will take Kyler Murray because it's Cliff Kingsbury's type of guy.
Where's mine?
And the type of offense that he likes to run. So Kyler Murray fits this mold. We're not going to go through 1 through 32. It's on our Keys to the City page. If you want to go check it out and you want to comment, give us it.
I will have explanations on my
well.
3.0 mock draft that comes on and come.
We already have explanations, but it could change. But just give us your takes. What do you think? We're not going to go through all the picks. We're just
if Murray
look
goes
through.
number 1, I think 2 and 3 are pretty much established. I think 49ers are definitely going to take Bosa. He's the best pass rusher in this draft. Everyone can have their own feeling. Josh Allen might be better for this.
Here's my thing about this whole draft. I think the biggest team and that can really change this whole draft.
It's the Raiders.
No. Is the Washington Redskins. Because if they do trade for Josh Rosen, you think about it. That's just one team less. What if Dwayne Haskins falls and then a Cincinnati team who needs help, a Denver team? What about the Giants at 17?
What about Miami?
What about Miami? But from the reports you're seeing, you just don't see it happening.
I just saw our buddy Brad Reese.
Yes.
He said
he wants them to tank for Tua.
No, he didn't know. He goes, I was into the tanking, but he goes, I think if they're there, they're going to take Drew Lock. And have your quarterback established and set the tone. And then
I'm not going to lie. I would take Drew Lock over Dwayne Haskins. I like Dwayne Haskins, but I like Drew Lock more.
Most teams want the quarterback. And then, see, the Giants are doing an opposite. The Giants were building with the receiver and the running back. But usually you build around quarterback, and then you fit the pieces around you. Now, I'm not going to go through everyone. I think Nick Bosa, the 2. Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen makes a perfect sense for the Jets. They need an outside pass rusher.
The Jets are going to try to trade that pick, but I don't see any suitors happening. Unless one of the teams that need a quarterback and want a quarterback are willing to trade up.
Giants are not trading up to go get the quarterback.
No, every mock draft that you see, the Giants are not trading up to draft Dwayne Haskins. So stop with the mock drafts that say the Giants are trading up to 3 and give up their entire draft. No, it's beyond blasphemy. It's beyond stupid to do that. The Giants are not trading up. The Giants are going to stay at 6, and they're going to draft the best defensive player there. And that's why I had, in my draft actually, I traded because I see the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that wants a quarterback and is probably done with Andy Dalton. I know
not this year, they're not.
But maybe next year.
I've already read multiple reports. They're looking to team out Dalton to give him one more year this year.
So guess what? Draft a quarterback and let him sit behind Dalton.
No, I know. That's why
I have Dwayne Haskins going to Cincinnati at 6. The Giants traded back to 11.
It's the Alex Smith and Kansas City Chiefs system that everyone's trying to copy.
More draft picks, receiving more draft picks, and that's why at 11 I have the Giants still taking Rashawn Gary. I think this would be a team that there's a lot of glaring holes with this team.
Why would the Bengals need to trade up if Haskins is ever going to be there at 11?
Don't know if Denver will.
Jump in front of Denver then and take him.
That's what I just did.
No, why don't the Bengals just jump in front of Denver?
To where?
9.
What if Buffalo wants to stay there?
They need more assets.
What if Buffalo
trade
wants to
back
stay
2
there?
spots? Think about what the Chicago Bears did to move up 1 spot.
I'm looking at a team that's quarterback hungry, needs a quarterback, and a team that maybe wants to trade back, and the Giants and get more capital, draft capital. So that's why I made that pick.
I thought it was blasphemy that I don't think they'll trade. I don't think.
Whatever.
I know.
I don't care. I went with my prediction.
Then again, I had the Falcons trading up too.
But I did have Washington taking Drew Lock. But that all depends on if the Washington Redskins go after Josh Rosen. I still think that's a possibility. So keep an eye out for that.
As we said before, the quarterbacks control everything.
The Giants are not going after Josh Rosen. There are many reports out now that the Giants are just not interested in Josh Rosen.
Washington.
It's more Washington now than any other team. The Giants are falling more and more like, they're done with Josh Rosen. They didn't draft him last year, so why would you trade for him again?
I have seen multiple reports too, and it's funny because everyone has their opinion on it. Everyone thinks, the Giants have to take a quarterback at 6. They have to take a quarterback at 6.
This is not a good quarterback class. If they're not going to take any of the quarterbacks from last year, which was a hell of a draft class that we already talked about, is one of the greatest quarterback classes of all time, they're saying, why would they take a quarterback this year? And for God's sakes, for people that are saying the Giants are going to take Daniel Jones, if Daniel Jones is the New York Giants quarterback that they take out of the past 2 years,
it would be 17.
17. The past 2 years, out of all the 7 quarterbacks that they decided to pass on, I'm talking about last year's class too, and I'm not including Lamar Jackson. I'm including the 4 from last year and then the 3 this year, and they take Daniel Jones. Wow. Folks, I will be starting with that Friday morning Not talking about the 6th pick. I will be talking about the 17th pick and the New York Giants making the biggest mistake in franchise history to take Daniel Jones. I don't care what anybody says. If they think the New York Giants are going to take Daniel Jones, it is complete ludicrous. Ludicrous. Idiotic. Then you should have taken a quarterback from last year. You should have taken Sam Darnold. You should have taken Josh Allen if you wanted. I know maybe you didn't want Josh Rosen, but if you pass on those and Dwayne Haskins and Drew Lock, if you pass on them and you take Daniel Jones, the Giants will set themselves up for even more failure. Go ahead. As you could tell, I'm very frustrated about this whole Daniel Jones thing because I think it's complete idiotic for the Giants to consider him. The Giants should go all defense and stack up that defense because who the hell do they have on defense? Name me somebody. I mean, Jabril Peppers is nice. He's still young. Got to see what he does. Alec Ogletree is all right. B.J. Hill is all right. Dalvin Thomas. They need a pass rusher. They just traded their best pass rusher this year. They traded also the best pass rusher last year in JPP. They need a pass rusher. They need to stack up on that defense. At least they have a quarterback. I know he's not great. I know he maybe not even good. But we still have a quarterback.
Listen, I agree with you.
I'm so fed up with it, man. I'm fed up with it.
It's going to be such a fun-filled draft because for the first time, the Giants, like for us as Giant fans, they have 2 picks. You look at the Packers have 2 picks. The Oakland Raiders have 3 picks. So you're looking at those 3 teams that have multiple assets in the first round that can do multiple things. Do the Packers at 12... with the first 2 picks, do they go with...
They should all go all offense and help your franchise. Your franchise, not the Packer franchise.
But if Aaron Rodgers is so good, couldn't you go one defensive player and help an extra?
Yeah, no, because you did that in free agency. You got some nice pieces in free agency.
If Devin Bush is sitting there at 12, would you question taking a middle linebacker?
Maybe they do, but I see them taking more offense.
What about secondary? Or trading back? What if they trade back?
More offense. They need more.
I know.
More offensive weapons.
I have them taking 2 offensive weapons. I have them taking T.J. Hockenson, the best tight end in this draft out of Iowa, and I had him taking, I believe, I'll look at the 30.
I had A.J. Brown.
I had Paris Campbell at 30. He's a speedster.
You know, I had A.J. Brown for them too. So I had A.J. Brown.
Do I have
both Ole Miss receivers?
I had both Ole Miss.
I had T.J. Hockenson as well. Team him up with Jimmy Graham. That's a another big weapon. And then help out and give a complimentary receiver to Devontae Adams.
You can look at so many things that go on. You know, Green Bay, they go offensive. You know, I look at Carolina. You said offensive.
Can I ask you something? Who's your favorite player in this draft?
I don't have a favorite player.
No,
I really don't. I like a lot. I like a lot of people.
No, I figured I just.
There's no one special player. You know,
I really like Devin Bush
because I
see the Giants going all Michigan and getting Big Blue. Getting Big Blue and going to Big Blue. I have them taking talked about Devin Bush.
I said I think there'll be 4 quarterbacks selected in the first round, which you thought was weird, but I said Daniel Jones or one of the guys or Will Grill will jump into late in the first round. One team will trade back in like they normally do. They'll go pick up a quarterback. Because I could see New England sitting there at 32 going, you know what? Let's do what we normally do. Let's trade back. We'll pick a tight end late. Mm-hmm. We'll pick someone up. We'll let someone else come get a quarterback. We'll get more assets. And then later on in the draft, a second will come up. We'll get a guy we want. We'll trade back. Because that's what the Patriots do. I could see that at 22. You know, there's a lot of question marks. I think teams that have a lot of needs.
I'm looking at the comments, Steve. That was a classic Trev Keys rant. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
You know, here's a guy, Jeffrey Simmons, was a top 10 pick possibility out of Mississippi State. I put him at the Philadelphia Eagles. I look at him as another Fletcher Cox, a younger guy. Now, I know he has an ACL injury, but they have made moves defensively that they can do something like this. They have they have an abundance amount of pass rushers that they're able to take a guy like that and let him rest and play behind and wait for his turn.
What would you give this draft a grade-wise and complete draft, like talent-wise? How talented do you think this draft class is? Compared to last year's class, do you think it's more?
I think last year's class was more top-heavy. The quarterbacks were better.
Well, we know that.
They had an elite running back.
Oh, yeah, they had, yes.
I look at Bradley Chubb as the best pass rusher. I think Bradley Chubb is better than any of the pass rushers this year. I would still take Bradley Chubb over any of the pass rushers this year's class.
Okay.
So when I look at that, I'm like, all right, the best pass rusher. Who was the top cornerback last year? Defensive
Denzel Ward was the first one.
He was number 4. Okay, so you look at a guy like him. I think that a lot of people would take Denzel Ward over on any of the quarterbacks this year. So you're looking better cornerback last year, rating wise.
Top safety was Derwin James. You'd obviously
Okay, so Derwin James is better than any safety in this class. Denzel Ward's better than any cornerback in this class. I would take Bradley Chubb over
top
any
offensive lineman was Quentin Nelson. You would take that.
Quentin Nelson. So last year's class was A. This class was more. This is more.
Would
B.
you give it like a B?
This is more B. This is a good draft. It's like
If you need pass rushers, this is a draft.
this is a good overall medium draft. Like from if you look at 2 to like 11, like you look at Nick Bosa, yeah, he's good, he's really good. And I had 11, Devin Bush. Devin Bush, I can see as being a weak side linebacker, someone who can go sideline to sideline, sure tackler, sound tackler, veteran, could be a presence on a team. I don't look at a big drop off. You know, even when I look at 12, 13, 14 guys, I had TJ Hawkinson, couldn't be an elite tight end. Rashawn Gary has top 10 talent. Now his numbers didn't progress like they should have coming out of high school when he was the number 1 recruit out of New Jersey. But he has top 10 talent. He could be a force. Christian Wilkins, you know, you have if Ed Albert falls. I had Brian Burns, an outside pass rusher, going to Carolina.
I had him going to Miami.
There's a lot of average players, but they all can make immediate impacts on these teams. So it's going to be very interesting, and I think that's why you might see more moves this year. I mean, less moves because there's not that elite guy. So it's not like I have to go get this guy because you look at the linemen, right? Jawan Taylor is kind of the leader in the pack.
Or Jonah Williams, one of those two.
Jonah Williams. But even if you get like Cody Ford, you know what I mean? Or
I have him going to Minnesota.
You don't have to I have to go get this offensive lineman guy. Where it's like, oh wait, Orlando Pace is there. If I want him, I go get him. You don't have to do that in this class. You can sit back and wait and still find great depth.
The only thing that you're going to see with trades is if there's quarterbacks. If Drew Lock is still available, Daniel Jones, even a Will Greer, like somebody comes in late in the first round and tries to scoop him up in late first round. Maybe even like Kyler Murray. Maybe one of the teams do trade up at number 1, like an Oakland Raiders team. And then you got Dwayne Haskins. If the Giants don't take him, there's going to be teams vying to trade up. That's why the Giants pick at 6 is intriguing in the sense of if they really don't want Dwayne Haskins, there may be teams calling the New York Giants and Dave Gettleman right now to be like, hey, we'll offer you this to trade back. If the Giants were to trade back to 11, I could take that. If the Giants traded back to 10, got more draft picks, and had Denver or Cincinnati come up.
Like if Denver wanted
I don't want the Giants. I wouldn't want the Giants to trade back to like Miami or Washington. I'd like for the Giants to be still in the top 10, maybe right outside.
I'll trade with Miami.
At 15 or 13?
Because they're going to get their first round pick next year. That's exactly the first thing I asked for. Exactly. You're trading that back. You're getting a first round next year,
and they're going to be. Oh so I don't. I don't think. I don't know the Dolphins. Knowing the Dolphins are going to be bad next year, and the Giants fighting for maybe 1 or 2. No way.
I do because I could have a Cleveland.
Because I don't think they value it. I don't think they value the quarterback class that much as they do next year.
Next year's draft quarterback class is much better than.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they will be valuing it.
But
for them
if Miami did want to come up. You could look at the Giants situation being the same situation as the Cleveland Browns last year. The Giants could have the 1 and 4 pick next.
We'll be talking about the New York Giants in like a year or two.
And if they go with your system this year where the Giants just build the D-line and O-line, they go defensive players this year where they went Rashawn Gary or someone else or the best defensive player.
Rashawn Gary should be there at 6.
And then like if you take Greedy Williams or Byron Murphy or another outside linebacker or someone at 17, and then next year you're going to have first rounds and you have another 12 picks, you could do something. Even if you take Will Greer, maybe Will Greer's sitting there at 37. You take a
chance on him.
Take a chance because you got first round picks next year. You got draft capital to do things. So there's a lot of possibilities. The draft will be fun. Look forward to the 3.0 mock draft.
Yeah, we're gonna post that the week of the draft. So about another 2 weeks from now, we'll be posting our draft. Our mock draft, our final mock draft 3.0 with descriptions as well, why we picked these players to where they should go. It's right here. It's almost here. It's in April.
What if Miami gives you a second, third? Well, you're going to get more than a second.
No, the Giants need more. If you're trading,
first of all, because they're definitely getting the first round pick.
If the Giants are getting, if they're going to 6, if they're going to 6 from 13, the Gettleman better be saying, "Give me your first pick."
They're definitely get the first round pick. There'll be no question about it,
folks. It's only 20 days away.
You get 2 1s, 2 2s, and a 3s.
It's only 20 days away. It's starting to heat up now. It's getting more and more intriguing. It's getting closer to draft time. But we are signing off. We are Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. Enjoy the Final Four because these games will be fun to watch. Trust me. have faith in it. Watch the Final Four. Baseball, we'll see how the Yankees continue to do. Oh, of course. One of my fan favorites, one of my all-time favorites, Mr. V, Mr. Valenti. I love you. Happy birthday, my friend. Big 6-0 this year as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys to the City from All Noise Radio. We'll see you next week. We are out.